On January 24th, 2003, popular African-American female lifestyle blog, MadameNoir.com, posted this story written by Quintessa Williams. Recent poverty data highlights a new layer of racism for Black women. Now stop the show. I was interested in the title, but before I kind of went into detail, rewind, Dima! So 9 months ago, CBS created a particular video that revolves around something similar. And that topic was Black women have the highest eviction rates in the United States. So stick with me. This was just 9 months ago. But now, despite hearing that, and I'm going to get back to the main topic soon, we've always been hearing this particular trope that says Black women are the most educated group in the United States. And a lot of times when you hear it, it sounds something like this.
I mean, you could already tell by the title, but did you know who's actually the most educated when it comes to school in America? It's Black women. According to findings compiled in a study by the National Center for Education Statistics, Black women have been obtaining degrees at a consistently high rate for the last 8 years and counting. Information collected about the higher education among African Americans between 2009 and 2010 shows that Black women accounted for 68% of associate's degrees, 66% of bachelor's degrees, 71% of master's degrees, and 65% of doctorate degrees awarded to Black students during that time frame.
Let me tell you how proud I am to be a Black woman. Nobody seems to want to talk about this. Black women are the most educated. I have 4 college degrees, and I am damn proud of myself. And you know what's funny? I've had a Black man, I've had white people, I had different people trying to put me down for being an educated Black woman. Because there was a time in which it was illegal to have an education, to even learn how to speak a language, to read a book. Can you imagine? Throughout our history, all of the oppression, all of the racism that Black women have endured, and we're still resilient. What does that say about a Black woman? It shows her strength.
So press 1 in the comments if you brothers have ever heard that before, and stop the show again. If you like what you're hearing so far, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell on this channel to be notified whenever I have new content coming up. But let's kind of get back on track here. We've all heard this. And again, this is in no way to take shots at Black women. I went to school with Black women. A lot of my closest friends, like medical school, biology, were Black women. But now let's get back to this eviction rate that's happening. Now, again, I'm going to get back to the main topic. We've been hearing that Black women are the most educated group, but what we haven't been talking about is that what Black women are going to school for doesn't translate into what the economy necessarily needs. I know we want to blame racism, and I want to get into the article because the article talks about the new layer of racism. Black women talks about home ownership. For many Black women, they are denied mortgages at an 84% rate higher than their counterparts, although it doesn't explain as to why they are being denied. Are they being denied because they have bad credit? Is that a racist thing? Because most lending institutions, and this is me even being a pro-Black, like how would you deny somebody that has the same credit score as somebody else? Doesn't seem to make sense, especially when banks want to make money off of people. All right. Now, they did say this: Black women are 256% more likely to receive a subprime mortgage than their white counterparts with the same credit score and economic position. That I can agree with. But here's something that I might not be able to agree with. The wage gap continues to highlight a persistent inequity for Black women in America. Black women are paid 58 cents a dollar less than our counterparts. Stop the show again. Again, I don't know where you're getting this data from. There's no sources to prove this, all right? I'm not saying that there is, but I think we know that most people, when you're at a job, you're paid the same amount of money, almost across the board. Now, here's what I want to talk about: debt. Black women carry a higher student debt, owing 22% more loan in student loan debt than our white female counterparts. Why is that? Because number one, those women are coming from two-parent homes more likely than black women are. Getting married, that's right, having a husband, which is probably being submissive and investing in a family structure, which that's not really the culture in the black community. And also, black women who hold a bachelor's degree or work full-time had median earnings of $60,681 a year compared to $91,000 for white men and $75,000 for black men, $75,329 to be exact. Stop the show. So does that mean that black men are out earning black women when black women are the most educated group in America? Now, I want to go back and talk about this real quick. Let's rewind, Dima. Let's go back to this particular story on black women having the highest eviction rates in the United States. I've covered this before a few months ago, but I want to go ahead and talk about that right now. So let's play a clip of that and then we'll come back.
Housing security in the U.S. since the pandemic is on track to become a crisis, and black women are being affected the most by it. According to Eviction Lab, there were more than 434,000 evictions last year. So for some context to this, the eviction moratorium was in place for a large portion of the year, but the number of renters at risk of eviction as of January spiked to about 3 million and counting. And of those, black women have the highest average of eviction filed against them at 6.2%, compared to white women at 3.4%. Now that equates to 1 in 4 black renters living in a place where black eviction filing rates were almost double than that of their white counterparts. So joining us now is Akira Drake Rodriguez. She's an assistant professor of city and regional planning at the Stuart Weitzman School of Design at the University of Pennsylvania. She's also the author of Diverging Space for Deviance, the Politics of Atlanta's Public Housing. Professor Drake, great to have you with us. Thank you for joining us. So can you give us an idea of why evictions are so high for black women specifically and the short and long-term impact it's having on them and their families?
Sure. So Black women traditionally are tasked with a lot of the caretaking roles of both their immediate family, but also their extended family. And so what you're more likely to see is that these are the women who are going to be having to take in cousins, having to take in people who are experiencing their own economic precarity or housing precarity, in addition to their own families. As sort of the head caretakers, you also see that they're more likely to make these sorts of sacrifices. So you see Black women, and all women actually, but Black women in particular, because they have kind of less opportunity and less access, more likely to stay, for example, in substandard housing or expensive housing if it means that their child has access to a good school or they have access to a job opportunity.
So let me just say this, right? There is a lot of, I don't want to call it excuses, but let's say, I don't know, maybe unjustified reasons why Black women are poor. But I think that what we're looking into is, number one, debt. A lot of people just don't know how to manage their money, and that could be the Black community because Black men have that same issue. There is a lack of investment. So how much money are Black women saving and investing? That data is not there. How much, like I said, as far as investments, what do they have? Are they in business? Are Black women living below their means? You know, we're not talking about those things. And also, there's no ownership of behavior as to why they as women might not be doing so well financially, because you do have Black women who are doing very well financially. Okay. So Black women who also go to college for certain degrees and get into debt for, you know, things they cannot pay for, that also helps. A lot of Black men are not as educated as Black women, but they are going into careers that are more suitable for the economy. Examples, plumbers. Examples, truck drivers. Examples, careers in technology. Now, Black women who you will find in these careers or healthcare are less likely to be in debt because they can pay those debts off. But now, if you're in some of the soft sciences, humanities, sociology, things like that, yes, you're likely to be poor. That's the situation. And also, if you have kids out of wedlock and you don't have support, you're more than likely to be poor. When you don't have a husband that can help you, you are more likely to be poor. That is why this one channel called How Money Works made a really awesome YouTube video about this whole situation. What was the video called? I'm glad you asked that question. The name of the video is called Being Single is Now an Unaffordable Luxury. Now, just to play a little bit of that video, let's do that.
Being single is becoming an unaffordable luxury for a lot of people. The cost of living is exploding right now, and without a partner to share the financial burden with, single people are financially falling behind their friends who are in consistent relationships. Being able to combine income and share expenses is only where the subtle advantages start as well. Multiple studies by world-renowned institutes in multiple countries have found that traditional married couples even earn more on average than people who are single. Interestingly, the reasons the researchers found for this pay gap were causal, which means that it wasn't just the richer people were more likely to get married. It means that being married on average gives people key benefits that lets them earn more money during their career. The gap between couples and singles is only growing to make matters worse, and the cost of dating is also increasing at an alarming rate. This means the financial benefits of long-term relationships are now, more than ever, disproportionately going to go to those people who are financially stable enough to be able to play the dating game. We must also remember that there are lots of people who want to remain single, and even more worryingly, there are lots of people that are in relationships that would like to get out of them if only they could afford it.
So you see, that video there is talking about American people in general. That people who are in two-parent households are married are going to continue to do better than black women. And again, you can make it racist if you want. And obviously, yes, black people are discriminated against, and I get that. But there is no ownership of behavior for why black women are poor. And one of that is not wanting to be married and not managing money, not having any investments, things like that. And also just settling for the fact that we're the most educated group, but then that education doesn't necessarily always fit into the economy. Rather, you have to be, your education must match the needs of the economy, and when it doesn't, you're going to be less likely to be, or more likely to be poor. That's what we're not talking about. We're talking about everything else but the facts. And a lot of times we're talking about making the right decisions. That's living below your means, marrying the right guy, being financially aware of your investments, understanding what your investments are doing, getting counseling for your investments, living in a place that you can afford, and then making sure you have upward mobility in the industry you choose to be in. And none of that is discussed in this article. Everything but that is discussed in this article. So whenever black women fail, then it's automatically racism, and we don't look at other things that could have been contributed by making just poor decisions. Again, not saying that racism can't happen, but we got to be real. But guys, what do you think? It's your boy, O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. Appreciate you for all that you do. Subscribe, hit the bell. We're out.